Hi everybody, welcome to my page. Today I'm going to show you my tips for printing a PDF pattern. You're going to need glue and scissors and your pattern. The very first thing you do is print it per the pattern instructions, and you're going to want to print it just the test page with the square on it. I'd use my clear acrylic ruler to make sure that it's the correct size, and as you can see here, it is. So print the rest of your pattern. Now, my biggest tip is to use glue instead of tape. A lot of people use tape, and I find that tape is really hard to move around. It can ruin your pages pretty quickly. Glue, I like that it slides around. It takes a second for it to dry because I just use regular old white glue. And so it takes a couple seconds for it to dry, and so you can slide it around and move it without having to worry about the tape. As you can see here, I've closed up. What I do is I overlap each line, and I do print all of the sizes instead of only the sizes that I need, so that the way I see it is that every line that you have gives you an opportunity to make sure it is perfectly straight. No printer will ever print any PDF pattern perfectly straight on the page. So you have to use your margin well. You have to use every single line possible to get it straight. And then I do it in rows. So I start with the top row and I move along, and then I set it aside. And then I start with the second row and move along and set it aside. Here's a tip. You don't have to glue every page together. Here's an example of why you wouldn't. As you can see, the full pattern piece starts on the next page, so there's no reason to overlap those and glue them together. All right, here we are gluing a piece that's in the very center of the pattern. And so as you can see, there's not a lot of overlap for sizes and lines, but you can use the words. You can use, you're supposed to use those diamond triangles, but you can also use the words. So any letters on your pattern will also be super helpful in getting it as perfectly straight as possible. Here's another example of why I wouldn't glue two pages together. Here is in between the legs is a full pattern piece. So you've got your front leg on one side, your back leg on the other side, and then as they taper away from each other, the pattern designer has used that area to put a full pattern piece. So I just didn't glue that together at all. So for the rest of the pattern here, I've just continued to glue them together separately with no space between the bottom of the legs. There's really no reason to do it. It just adds extra weight to your pattern. And so I just keep going, just one leg at a time at that point. As I get towards the even lower on the leg, you've got other pieces like pockets and stuff going on. And so when I get to these, I actually just cut the leg away from those other smaller pieces. That way I'm not gluing so many pieces together that I don't need to. So I'm just, you see here, I'm just cutting away the leg from the pocket piece that's right next to it. For this particular pattern, underneath both of the legs are the drawstrings, and so I am going to go ahead and just glue those all together just to make sure that I get the drawstrings perfectly straight. I can use the leg pieces to help make sure that I get the drawstrings perfectly straight. This pattern also has a cut chart, so I'm not sure that I'll actually use the drawstring pattern pieces because I do really like to use a cut chart and just my acrylic ruler to cut any rectangular or square pieces. But this gives me the option to make sure that I can do either one, or that if my teenage daughter, who says she wants to learn to sew, decides that she prefers to use the rectangles, she can use the rectangles. After I've glued all of the rows together, it's time to tape up my very top row to start gluing them together for the columns. So I do use tape here to tape it to the surface. This is another reason that a light board isn't necessarily the best idea, and it's better to use a large window or a sliding glass door so that you actually can get all of the pieces like this. I'm not sure if they make light boards big enough, and if they did, I know I wouldn't have the space to store it. So this is just a great way to do it. So I just put the glue up along the window, and as you can see, this large center window that I have is barely big enough to fit the whole row. And that's not even including the two very end pieces. This one has A, B, C, D, E, F. I've got that many pages, and then G and H are just along the side because they're just rectangle pieces that I didn't want to glue at the same time I was gluing the legs together. Thank you for watching my video. If you'd like any more tips on sewing or PDF patterns, please drop a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video. Have a great day.